Nightly greetings to all of you. Yours truly, Gabrielle Lopez here, and this is PTV News Now, kicking off our second round of major stories at the hour. Isn't it so ironic how a billionaire business person who's made her fortune on government money could also be stiffing the very cash cow she's milked over the years by deliberately skipping tax payments or customs duties? A speculation or hypothetical that could prove true if fond she did not pay appropriate taxes on a fleet of luxurious imported vehicles she owns. The prospect of the Discayas sinking into deeper woes against the government and the public is looming large, with more discoveries unraveling on their amassed fortune, to include, by their very admission in TV interviews late last year, at least 40 high-end set of wheels parked in a secure garage. Land Transportation Office records gleaned of late show a far higher number of luxury automobiles registered under their names, proxies, and businesses. So much so, the Bureau of Customs officers and personnel came knocking on their door today to check on their fleet of vehicles and if proper taxes were paid in where purchase or procurement. But a clearly panicking Discayas couple and family, fearing the prospects of confiscation, had made sure to transfer the locations of all but two in their garage to locations unknown. Customs officials, however, assured to find them in due time. America may still be the most powerful nation on the planet, economically and military, but her chief rival for global supremacy has surpassed and taken over the world's top shipbuilder of the largest naval superpower. And as VOA's Carla Barb reports, while China continues to up productions, U.S. shipbuilding is on a downtrend.
The U.S. Navy, 296 ships strong. Thousands of companies build the parts and maintain them, including Fairbanks Morse Defense, the largest engine manufacturer in North and South America.
This engine has about 10,000 horsepower.
CEO George Whittier tells VOA 90% of the company's business goes to the U.S. Navy or Coast Guard. The company, he said, expected the size of the Navy fleet to increase to match Navy force structure goals that get bigger every year. But in recent years, the fleet decreased. Last year's budget funded just 6 new Navy ships, while decommissioning 15 from the fleet.
And then for the 2025 budget plan, originally that was supposed to be 10 new ships, and now they're only going to asking for 6 new ships again, and they want to decommission 19. So that's then down minus 13.
While the U.S. Navy is still considered the most powerful in the world when it comes to firepower and tonnage, the number of U.S. Navy ships is falling behind China's. Its Navy is on pace this year to surpass 400 ships, according to the Pentagon.
It's very frustrating and very challenging to be a supplier. They're rapidly growing the size of their Navy, and here we are on the sidelines. It's, we need to get more ships that are out there.
We send a shipbuilding plan to Congress every year.
Admiral Jim Kilby, the acting chief of naval operations, agrees.
And we've advocated for a bigger Navy for a long time.
But he says he hasn't had the budget to replace all his aging ships and submarines, much less grow the force.
And when we get a new ship, we'll replace an old ship because that old ship is more expensive and harder to maintain.
Whittier says the lack of growth isn't just slowing the maritime defense industry, it's sinking the supply chain.
There's thousands and thousands of suppliers that have gone out of business, and it's a real risk. I got a note from the folks at Electric Boat that make the submarines, and they'd identified something like 350 critical suppliers where they were concerned if they go out of business that they don't necessarily have a backup.
Fairbanks Morse Defense happens to be one of the biggest suppliers to U.S. submarines and the sole U.S. company supplying the biggest engines used in the military's amphibious warfare ships.
Without 4 of these, an amphib is nothing but a piece of metal floating in the water.
Each engine about the size of a small school bus.
We should have 2 engine suppliers, but the reality is if the Navy's only going to build 6 ships a year, it's a struggle to keep 1 engine supplier in business, let alone 2.
A problem so concerning, the president is taking action, announcing this month a new office in the White House devoted entirely to shipbuilding.
We used to make so many ships. We don't make them anymore very much, but we're going to make them very fast, very soon.
Congress is expected to increase the military's budget to surge resources for its shipbuilding shortfalls. While most ships made in the United States are for its military, Senator Mark Kelly tells VOA the state of U.S. commercial shipping is even more dire.
We went from 10,000 ships during World War II to 85 today. So in case of an emergency, in case of a conflict with a near-peer adversary, we're quite limited to getting all those supplies and equipment, troops across the ocean.
The United States builds about 5 commercial ships each year. China builds more than 1,000.
They have one shipyard, just one shipyard, that's bigger than all of our shipyards put together. They can construct them very, very quickly. And we just don't do that anymore.
Kelly in December introduced bipartisan legislation called the Ships for America Act. The bill aims to increase the U.S. commercial fleet by 250 ships in 10 years, which will also increase the supply chain for military ships.
A lot of the parts that go into a U.S. aircraft carrier, some of those same parts for those systems go in merchant ships.
Kelly says the bill uses tax incentives and fees on cargo coming into the country to fund the growth.
There are provisions in the legislation to have it fully paid for, so we don't have to add anything to the annual deficit.
Defense industry leaders say they welcome efforts to prioritize shipbuilding to help counter China, and warn inaction will put the U.S. even further behind in the future. The Navy's latest shipbuilding plan only increases its fleet to 380 ships by 2040, still fewer than the number of Chinese naval vessels today. Carla Babb, VOA News, Norfolk, Virginia.
At this moment, let's lend our eyes and ears to my colleagues in PTV's Baguio City studios for what's hot and happening in the Cordilleras. Audrey?
Naimbag arabi, rumbang lang ti panaglusulos iti pwesto ni sigud a DPWH Secretary Manuel Bonoan. Deta ti kinuna ni Baguio City Mayor Benjamin Magalong kagiddan ti panakadutok ni Vince Dizon kas baro adadaulo ti nasa unga ahensya. Agtalak ti mayor iti kabailan ti kabarbaro a sekretary ti DPWH. Inayo na pay anain kalintegan a pangadeng ti presidente ti panakadutok ni Vince Dizon. Sigurado mo dayto nga adda ti maaramid kan mailepas ni Dizon at trabaho iti ahensya. Kinuna na pay nga inaldaw dang agtintinawag kini Dizon tapno mapagsaritaan dagiti estratehiya da tapno masolusyonan dagiti anomalya iti ahensya.
I think he's the best choice there. Kilalang kilala ko si Vince Dizon. And if you want something to happen, and if you want, to make things happen, it's Vince Dizon. Meron kaming strategy. So nagtatawagan kaming dalawa. Continuous yung aming communication and talagang kwan din siya. He's really very much committed na to transform DPWH. At the same time, get to the bottom of all these anomalies na nangyari involving the agency.
Kabayatan na agtalok ni Senator Francis Kiko Pangilinan adakkel ti epekto ti issue dagiti anomalya iti flood control projects iti ekonomiya ti Pagilian. Sigun ken kuana kas chairperson ti Senate Committee on Agriculture, Food and Agrarian Reform, adamot lang ti epekto na iti sektor iti agrikultura ti Pagilian. Nasken a madusa dagiti karaman iti anomalya dagiti proyekto. Mamatimot lang ti senador anasken ang mabukal baban iti lintag ti maysa nga investigative body amang imbestiga iti kadagiti anomalya iti proyekto. Inyunay-unay na anasken a karaman iti investigative body da sigud a secretary ti DPWH ani Rogelio Babe Singson kani sigud nga ombudsman Conchita Carpio Morales. Mensahe na matlang kini Presidente Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. anasken nga ipasigurado na ang matutukan ti sumarunong ombudsman ti issue ti na anomalyaan a flood control projects.
Itong mga ito, hindi pa, buhay pa sila pero yung kaluluwa nila isinusunog na sa impyerno. At dapat talaga busisiin ito at parusahan itong mga sugapa. Biro mo yun, trilyon.
Dagiti damdamag manipud iti PTV Cordillera siak ni Audrey Villana, Naimbag arabi.
Many thanks, Audrey. And with that, we've come to the end of our show tonight. Join us anew tomorrow for another set of major stories here and abroad at the hour. This is Gabby Lopez wishing you all a restful night ahead, and thank you for watching PTV News Now.